Hello, welcome to the channel. This video is about past perfect tense. Let's get started.
Today we'll delve into the past perfect tense and how it helps us talk about events that happened before other past events. There are two variations of the past perfect tense. First, we have the simple past perfect tense. Take, for example, David's return on December 11th. But before that, his team had already embarked on the expedition about 20 days earlier, and they had accomplished it using domestic Bactrian camels. You see, the past perfect tense allows us to show that David's team had initiated and completed their journey before they returned on December 11th, 2005. Now, moving on to the past perfect continuous tense. For example, prior to John David's return to Kumsu, illicit miners had been occupying the territory for a span of 2 years. The past perfect continuous tense comes in handy when we want to indicate that this was a more extended, continuous occurrence that happened before Hare's team reached the region. Now let's talk more about the past perfect tense and how we construct statements and questions using it. To do this, we use the auxiliary verb had, followed by the past participle of the main verb. For statements in the past perfect tense, we say, she had finished her homework before dinner. And when asking questions in the past perfect tense, we say, had she finished her homework before dinner? Just a quick reminder, the past participle represents the third form of the verb. For example, for the verb see, the forms are see, saw, seen. When to use the past perfect tense? Very nice. Then let's explore when to use the past perfect tense in our discussions. Remember, we use the present perfect tense to talk about past actions that have a connection to the present. For instance, John Hare has been on 6 expeditions to Lop Nur, which means he has been on 6 expeditions up to now. However, when we want to discuss a past action that is connected to another event or time in the past, we use the past perfect tense. It's like looking at the past of the past. For example, before his last expedition, John Hare had already been to Lop Nur 5 times. And take this situation. When Hare's team arrived, they discovered that illegal miners had shot the animals. Here, the past perfect tense tells us that the miners shot the animals before Hare's team arrived. The simple past and the past perfect. After talking about when to use the past perfect tense, let's examine into the usage of the simple past and the past perfect tenses. The simple past tense is more frequently used than the past perfect. It allows us to talk about completed actions in the past in the order they occurred. For example, they discovered Kumsu in 1999 and they saw a lot of rare animals. In 2005, they went back to Kumsu, but this time the animals were dead. Now, the past perfect tense comes into play when we are already discussing the past and want to refer to an even earlier time in the past. For instance, they went back to Kumsu in 2005. They had been there once before, in 1999, and they had seen a lot of rare animals. It's quite common to use both the simple past tense and the past perfect tense together. And here's how they differ in their use. We use the simple past tense for the most recent past action, while we use the past perfect tense for the action that happened earlier in the past. For example, as Stanley and his team discovered, miners had been at Kumsu Spring. After the simple past and the past perfect, let's talk about the past perfect continuous tense. When do we use the past perfect continuous tense? We use the past perfect continuous tense to describe an ongoing past event that happened before a specific time in the past. For example, illegal miners had been occupying the area. They had been using potassium cyanide to extract gold. This was happening before Stanley's team arrived. Additionally, the past perfect continuous tense can also be used to talk about an ongoing or repeated action in the past that was interrupted by a later past action. For instance, after we had been traveling for 2 weeks, we finally arrived at the spring. The last area to talk about is the reported speech and the past perfect tense. Keep in mind that when we report something that was said in the present tense, we use the past tense. For example, For direct speech, present tense, I am tired of camels, he complained. They said he is studying camels. In reported speech, past tense, he told me that he was tired of camels. They said that he was studying camels. Now, when the direct speech is in the simple past tense, the present perfect tense, or the past perfect tense, we use the past perfect tense to report it. And if the direct speech is in the continuous form, we also use the continuous form in the reported speech. For instance, in direct speech, we traveled to China, said John Hare, simple past. The journey was taking longer than expected, he admitted, at past continuous. I have given several lectures, Hare explained. Present perfect. I had always wanted to be an explorer, he added, past perfect. In reported speech, past perfect, John Hare said that they had traveled to China. He admitted that the journey had been taking longer than expected. Hare explained that he had given several lectures. He added that he had always wanted to be an explorer.
That's all for today. See you next time. Goodbye.